At my grandfather's will reading, my brother got the house and every account attached to the estate. I got $1. One single dollar. Quick thing before we go on. I made a free money starter kit. No cost, no catch. The playbook I wish I had when I was broke. The link's in the description. Grab it. My brother held it up in front of the whole family and said, $1's generous for the son who brought nothing. And everybody laughed. 7 days later, the estate lawyer called my cell phone. Nobody's laughing now. This is the story of that call. Let me back up. I'm 31. I work the counter at a hardware store. My rent eats $940 a month, and my car makes a sound my mechanic calls interesting. Nothing about my life was special, except Saturdays. Every Saturday morning, I made the drive out to Grandpa Ray's place. He'd have the percolator going before I even hit the porch. Burnt coffee, 2 mugs, one of them chipped. Then we'd fix whatever needed fixing. Gutters, fence posts, that stubborn old pickup he wouldn't let die. Over his workbench, Ray kept a single dollar bill in a cheap black frame. The first dollar he ever earned. He'd tap the glass and tell me, "Kiddo, the first dollar matters most. The rest is just zeros." I must have heard that 100 times. Then there's my Aunt June, Ray's little sister. 68 years old, a bad knee, renting a basement apartment across town. She never once missed my birthday. A card and a $5 bill, every single year since I was 6. Even the years when $5 was all she had. Grandpa Ray passed in the spring. 2 weeks after the funeral, the whole family gathered at the office of his lawyer, a quiet man named Whitfield. My brother Marcus showed up in a brand new suit and sat up front like a man collecting a trophy. Whitfield went through it line by line. The house went to Marcus. Every account attached to the estate, Marcus. My mother Denise got Grandma's jewelry. Aunt June got Ray's old kitchen radio. Then Whitfield got to my name. To my grandson Eric, I direct my executor to deliver $1. The room held still for about 1 second. Then it broke. Marcus laughed first, and my mother patted his arm like he'd just won something. Whitfield slid a single dollar bill across the table without meeting my eyes. Marcus grabbed it before I could touch it. He waved it at the room like a little flag. $1's generous for the son who brought nothing. My mother smiled into her coffee. Not one person spoke up for me. I took the dollar out of his hand. I folded it once and put it in my shirt pocket. Then I walked out, and behind me Marcus called, "Buy yourself something nice." Here's the math nobody in that room said out loud. Marcus visited Grandpa twice in 2 years, and both times he left with a check. I made that drive 260 Saturdays, give or take a flat tire. He got a house. I got $1. Now here's what nobody in that room knew. Honestly, I didn't know it yet either. Ray built a rental yard from nothing. Ladders, cement mixers, trailers, floor sanders. 40 years behind that counter, and he owned every inch of it. The yard, the equipment, and 40 acres of land out by the county line. Then Grandma got sick. 4 years of care, and it cost more than anyone ever said out loud. Ray borrowed against the house to cover it, because he wouldn't touch the yard and he wouldn't touch the land. So the house everybody wanted? A shell, with a mortgage wrapped around it. After Grandma passed, the family changed. Marcus came around twice, both times with a pitch. A sneaker resale thing, then a crypto thing. Both times he left with a check, and both times he stopped calling the day it cleared. My mother talked about that house at every holiday like it was already listed. "That kitchen needs granite," she'd say, with Ray sitting right there at the table. Me. I just kept showing up. Burnt coffee. Gutters. The truck. And after every visit, Ray would pull out a fat spiral notebook and write something in it. I asked him once what he was writing. He winked and said, "I'm keeping score, kiddo." I thought that was a joke. It wasn't. 12 years ago, quiet as a snowfall, Ray had Whitfield build him a trust. Its own name, its own paperwork. And piece by piece, everything real that Ray owned moved inside it. The will everybody heard? That was the decoy. That night, I sat in my apartment and did the math I'd been avoiding. My checking account held $312, 5 years of gas money, truck parts, and gutter brackets. Call it $4,000 out of my own pocket. And what came back to me was $1. Around midnight, the ugly thought crept in. Maybe Ray was in on the joke. Maybe I was the family punchline for 5 years and never knew it. I held that dollar over the trash can and my hand wouldn't open. I put it back in my pocket and turned off the light. My mother called the next morning. Not to apologize. She said, "Don't make this a thing, Eric. Grandpa was fair. Some sons earn a house. Some sons earn a lesson." That weekend, she asked me to help pack up Grandpa's place. Her exact words were, "You're good at hauling." Not, "We want you there." You're good at hauling. I went anyway because that house still smelled like his coffee, and packing his life into boxes felt like a job for somebody who loved him. There was a dumpster in the driveway. Sitting on top of the pile was Grandpa's black frame, glass cracked, first dollar still inside. Next to it, the fat spiral notebook. I lifted them both out and brushed them off. Marcus watched me do it and grinned. Take the trash. That's about your price range. Then I tried to do one more right thing. I offered Marcus $2,000 for Grandpa's pickup. Fair money. Honestly, more than fair. He told me he'd think about it. 3 days later, he sold that truck to a complete stranger for $1,500. $500 less than my offer, just so I couldn't have it. Then he texted me a photo of it rolling away on a trailer with one word. Oops. That Friday, 3 weeks after we buried the man, Marcus threw a housewarming party at Grandpa's house. I wasn't invited. I didn't need to be. My mother posted 40 pictures. And by Sunday, the family had a brand new story. The way they told it, that dollar wasn't a joke. It was a message because supposedly I'd been taking money from Grandpa for years. My cousins bought it. The family group chat went quiet on me, and then it went away completely. One person stood up. Aunt June called it a lie at Sunday dinner out loud to their faces, so they froze her out too. 68 years old, and they cut her for telling the truth. She called me that night and said, "I'd rather stand with you than sit with them." What she didn't tell me was that her knee had gotten worse. There was a surgery she kept pushing off. $18,000 after insurance. She never said one word about it to me. I found out anyway. So that was my life, 7 days after the will. $312 in the bank, a folded single in my pocket, a family calling me a thief, and exactly one person left in my corner. Day 7. I was restocking shelves when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I answered it in the loading bay. Eric. Frank Whitfield. Your grandfather's lawyer. Can you come in tomorrow morning? I asked him what this was about. He said, the will was the will. This is the trust. Your grandfather left me instructions to wait exactly 1 week, he wrote, and I'm quoting him here. Give the vultures 7 days to show the boy who they are. I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, Whitfield opened a folder facing me. The 40 acres. The rental yard, the equipment, the business accounts, all of it moved into the trust years ago. Then he slid one page across the desk, the same slow way he'd slid that dollar bill. It was an account summary. I pressed my finger under the number and counted the zeros out loud, one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 zeros sitting behind a 2 and a 4. $2,400,000 and change. My hands shook so hard the page rattled. Under the summary sat an envelope with my name on it in Grandpa's handwriting. Keto. The first dollar matters most. The rest is just zeros. Go check my notebook. You won years ago. That notebook I pulled out of a dumpster? Every page dated, going back years. Eric came. Fixed the gutter. Asked for nothing. Eric came. Rain all day. Stayed anyway. Eric came. Asked for nothing. Again. Page after page after page. The man really had been keeping score, and nobody else was even on the board. Now here's the part I need you to hear, because this is the part that matters. The first money that moved didn't buy me one single thing. I called the surgery center and paid off Aunt June's knee. $18,000 gone in one phone call, and it was the best money I've ever spent. Then I drove to her basement apartment and handed her a key. There's a little white cottage on Grandpa's 40 acres out by the pond. I had it cleaned up, put a proper railing on the steps, and moved her in. Rent, $0 forever. June stood on that porch and cried, then she laughed, then she made me terrible coffee and Ray's old percolator. Best cup I ever had. 2 quiet wins after that. I tracked down the stranger who'd bought Grandpa's pickup and paid $2,500 to bring it home. And I quit the hardware store, no speech, no drama, and just started opening Grandpa's rental yard at 7 every morning, same as he did. Same crew, same counter. His name stayed on the sign. Meanwhile, across town, my brother was finding out what he'd actually won. Those estate accounts he'd bragged about held $9,000 and change. And the house came with Grandpa's borrowing still attached. $380,000 owed on a house worth maybe $400,000. Marcus hadn't inherited a fortune. He'd inherited a payment book. It took 11 days for word to get around. Deed filings are public, and somebody's cousin knows somebody at the county office. Marcus rolled into the yard on a Thursday, sunglasses on, laughing before he was even out of the car. Okay, funny. Whose trust is it really? I didn't answer him. He looked at the crew at the counter, at me standing there in Grandpa's canvas jacket, and the laugh drained out of his face a little at a time. Then came the bluster. "This is a mistake. I'm the oldest. I'll take it to court." And he really did talk to lawyers. 3 of them, from what I heard. A 12-year-old trust, built by a careful man and a careful lawyer, and every one of them gave him the same answer. Airtight. 6 weeks later came the second wave, and it sounded very different. The bank wanted its money. He tried to sell the house, but the payoff and the fees swallowed the whole price. There was nothing left inside that house to take. He showed up at the yard in October. No sunglasses this time. He waited by the gate like a customer. "Eric, brother, look, we got off wrong. You know how Mom is." I just went along with it. Then came the flattery. "You were always the solid one. Grandpa saw it. I see it now." And then finally, the real sentence. "I need $50,000 or I lose the house. Family helps family." Right? That same week, my mother called me twice. The first time in months. She never mentioned the party or the story they'd spread about me. She just kept saying the family should come together. Funny how together always shows up about 10 seconds after the money does. I looked at my brother for a long moment. Then I took out my wallet. It was still in there. The same dollar from the will, gone soft at the fold. I pressed it into his hand and curled his fingers around it. $1's generous for the brother who brought nothing. He stood there holding it. And for the first time in his life, my brother had no line ready. I didn't yell. Grandpa would have hated yelling. I said, "I'm not paying for that house, Marcus. It was never the point. But this yard opens at 7, and there's honest work here at $19 an hour, any day you want it. That offer never expires." It's the same deal Grandpa gave everybody else. He let the dollar fall in the gravel and drove off. I picked it up. Of course I picked it up. The bank took the house before Christmas. Marcus rents an apartment across town now, and he still tells anyone who will listen that the trust was rigged. My mother stopped calling once it sank in that no check was coming. I don't hate them. I just stopped auditioning for them. And the last picture I want to leave you with is this one. Aunt June on the cottage porch with a brand new knee, beating me at gin rummy, pouring the worst coffee in the county out of Ray's old percolator. Every single Saturday. I even keep a fat spiral notebook of my own now, and June's name is on every page. Because Saturdays were never about money. So here's what Grandpa Ray was really saying with $1 and a notebook. Loud people grab. Quiet people build. Somebody's always keeping score, and it's usually the quietest person in the room. You don't show up for the will, you show up for the coffee. Real wealth is what you build for the people who show up, not what you grab at the reading. Now I want to hear from you. If your family handed you $1 and your brother the house, would you fight it, or would you walk away and let time keep the score? Tell me below. And if you'd have picked that dollar up out of the gravel too, hit subscribe, because I've got more stories where this one came from. I'm Eric. I'll see you Saturday.